Virgo, Virgo, welcome, welcome. So Virgo, it's been a while since I've done a video for you in English. And today I was guided to do it. So there must be some messages here that some of you may need to hear. So I'm glad to be here. Just remember, Virgo, that to hear my video, you don't have to have any particular moon rising or sun or moon or whatever it is that, sometimes you're being told to look at. To me, it's all about affinity. The synchronicity that you feel or the connection to the messages that I'm offering. My purpose is always to provide you with information that is going to empower you, right? To help you understand your energy so that all of those situations that sometimes happen in your life that you don't like, you, by choice and through awareness, dissolve them or at least get away from them. And the only way that you can get away from them is by internally changing your perceptions, your definitions. So that is my purpose. All right. So my style, Virgo, is to mix numerology, astrology, and tarot. And it's one of the ways in which I can create like a GPS so that you can have a certain amount of awareness about this cycle. So for every reading that I do is to bring awareness about the things that you normally would not think of, especially when you are in a situation that you know more than anyone that is a situation that is a repetition in your life. So when we have these repetitions in our lives, we need to realize and find out what it is that we're thinking that is making us behave in a manner that creates similar situations with different people. And that is a very annoying thing to happen, isn't it? I know a lot of people that I see, they come and complain about, I just can't believe that here I am in a new situation and the same thing is happening to me. So we need to understand what it is that we're doing so that we can stop, right? My hair, the braids do not want to stay. So let's just do ponytails. Do you think that this will be appropriate for the video? Have a ponytail and a braid? You're probably saying, who the fuck cares? Anyways, I should have done this before. What about this? All right. So before we begin talking about the numbers and what the numbers are saying, I want to remind you that right now we are going through, or we're being affected by the energy of the moon. We always are. We always are. Every month we're being affected by the energy of the moon. So what are the things that we can do to benefit from this energy? Because the new moon to the full moon, the energy moves faster. So new moon, perfect timing for you to sit down and reflect upon the things that you desire to attract. But before you direct your energy or before you think about the things that you really want in your life, you need to be sure that you're not feeling insecure or doubtful about how to attain those things. Okay? So big difference when you're saying, I want this, to what am I going to do to get it? Okay? So in this new way, because as you know, we are in a time of transformation in our planet. And that decision was made by Earth. The consciousness of Earth, which is very much alive, decided that she wanted to change her frequency and move away from a dimension where the energy was so dense. And she decided to do it, whether we as humans are aware or not. That's right. They don't tell you this in the news, but I'm telling you. And you may say, well, where did you get it? It doesn't matter where I get it. You don't have to believe me. All you have to do is investigate. And believe me, eventually, you will understand what I'm telling you. So, back to the point. The earth decided to change and change her consciousness. She started to do that now for a few years. All you have to do is to look into science, and they can testify and are a witness to this change. The effect of this change is making the energy move faster, because when you move in dimensional planes that are more in tune with the love connection, if you want to call it that way, if they're more evolved, more spiritual, or more energetic, the energy moves faster. When you move into vibrational spaces where the energy moves low, and then the energy is dense, and that's why we have physical matter. So understanding this concept is important when we are trying to attain our heart desires, when we're trying to materialize our dreams. Because there are times that we use information that emotionally makes us feel more dense, and for that reason, it doesn't allow us to materialize our heart desires faster. And instead, what we get is a hot mess. And it's exactly the hot mess that you don't like in your life, is it? Nobody likes a hot mess. But it's the expression of what you've been thinking and the way you've been doing it that creates that life experience that you dislike so much, and can sometimes take you years to overcome because of the way it made you feel. So we need to come back to the understanding that we are energy beings. We are all made of energy at a cellular level, at a subatomic level. And that energy, or those particles of light, contain information. And when they unite, they create a frequency. And that's the frequency that, by the law of attraction, you create and attract all of your life experiences. I'm saying all of them. I'm not saying just some. I'm saying all of them. So if in the center of your being, you are continuously think negative things, and you're more focused on negativity than positivity, I can assure you that you're not going to attract abundance, because different energies do not attract each other. And it's impossible for you to want to feel good and want to have abundance in your life, and the majority of the time you're focusing your thoughts, your feelings, and your attention in negative things. Impossible. And unfortunately, there are some of us that have gotten really comfortable in talking about negative things in a very positive way. Have you ever met somebody like that, where they are, they talk like it's so natural, but it's so fucking negative. But just because I'm saying it nice, they have bought into the idea that it's all fine, it's all good. Oh, look, I just broke my leg yesterday, but look at how I am. Look at how good. And you know what? I'm not really happy about what I'm feeling, but what am I going to do, right? It's Monday. I mean, I'm being goofy, but I think you understand my point. So I'm going to relax a little bit because I feel really intense. So maybe I'm connecting with Virgos that are feeling really intense. So my point is, Virgo, that I'm making you aware of all of this because we have a tendency to rely on tarot readers to help us see the future, to help us motivate us into the things that we want to attract and we don't have in our lives. But then we sit around very comfortable in who we are And when we don't get what we want, we have a tendency to project and blame and, be critical about other people to the point that we say, well, you lied to me. So my purpose here is to let you know, look, celestial bodies are working to your benefit. This is a period in which your energy reads like this, and the numbers are talking like this. So you either take advantage by being aware of your own power, or you continue to do the same. So, I believe in my power, in my energy, and my abilities. And the more I know about who I am, the more it empowers me to know and to choose what I desire to create in my life. And that's a really good feeling. So here we are in a new moon. Perfect opportunity every month. If you want your hair to grow, cut your hair in a new moon. If you want your loving relationships to grow, sit under the effects of a new moon in meditation and think positive and emit that feeling of feeling good and I want this because I want me to feel better. But then you have to create a state of being that demonstrate that you already got what you wanted. So it's not about just thinking and talking to the universe and saying, I want this and this and this. And the universe doesn't understand your words. It only understands energy and vibration. When I did plant medicine, this is one of the things that I was able to understand, because all my teachings under that state, the majority were in a vibrational way. And I was able to understand something at a deeper level because I already had a sense of energy, especially after having my awakening back in 2009. But when I was under the effects of ayahuasca, she took it to the next level. And today, through the sounds, I can tell without listening to the words if the vibe of that person or anything is in alignment or out of alignment. And believe me, sometimes it's a very subtle difference, but you learn. So this is not a quality that is just special to me. We all have it. But to learn it, it requires our attention and our devotion. And for me, after having my awakening, I've completely been immersed in this path of energy. So it's not about a dogma, it's not about a religion, it's not something that I read and I learn and I repeat to you. No, it's things that I experience in my life, and I ask for the knowledge so that I can understand it better. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So we have the new moon energy. Perfect timing to set some goals. And those that have already manifested that are happening in a way that you don't like is perfect opportunity also for you to remove the doubt and to also figure it out. Why are you doubting if that's important to you? But I've come to a point where it's easy for me to just find the thing that is going to make me feel better than having to figure everything out so that my mind can be happy. But that's me. Not everybody's the same. Some people, they need reasons. They need to understand. I have to understand because otherwise I don't get it. If you're that kind of person, I get it. But eventually, trying to understand energy at a very subtle level is not going to help you at all. Because the more involved that you get into that reality, the energy reality, the harder it is to find the words to describe it. So just keep that in mind. All right, so back to the moon. Last month, we had a full moon in Aquarius, and this month is going to be the same. Oh my God, I want to talk to you in Spanish. Which This symbolism is letting us know that something is happening in a vibrational level. Aquarius is the zodiac sign that talks about new information that is going to change your life in a big way, because it's ruled by Uranus, which is a very revolutionary energy. So we are right now under the effects of Aquarian era astrologically. And what that is telling us, that as Earth is changing in the galaxy, is changing her energy. And because she's moving to a dimension that is a lot different than the third one, the nature of our reality is also changing. And everything is moving so quickly. When things are moving so quickly, the mind trying to analyze information is not going to work. Not all the time. So I'm not saying never. I'm saying not all the time. So the one mechanism that our physical body has is the heart center. So we have these energy centers that they're bridges to the unknown. And part of this change and transformation is to awaken those energy centers through alignment, because they've been out of alignment for the longest time. When the more we align these centers through meditation and practices and eating right and all of these things that we could do to change our density, we then start activating markers in our DNA that hold information about our power, about our abilities. And we have many, because we've been created with a mix of DNA from the most primitive to the most advanced. And because we have lived in a reality in which it has been taken by energies that wanted to keep us enslaved and dormant and depending on their intentions, desires, and whatever, we have bought into the idea that we're not good enough and that not everybody has the opportunity to have the blessings and the abundance that other people have. And that's exactly what these so-called entities that have not liked the human evolution, that's exactly what they wanted. To keep us thinking that we're just not good enough. So we have bought into those beliefs to the point that we were told that we have junk DNA, that we have excess of brain that we don't need, and we have kind of gone along to take all that stuff out because it's not needed. So much ignorance. So we have been invaded by ignorance, corrupted by ignorance to keep us in a particular level where we cannot see beyond what's in front of us. And that's changing. Whether we want it or not. There are people that are resisting to the change, but unfortunately it's happening. And I don't know, I cannot tell you exactly what's going to happen to the people that refuses to change, because this is not a reading for that. But all I can tell you is that if you don't take the opportunity to try to understand the nature of who you are as a spirit having a physical experience, you're going to struggle a lot in these times to come. Because in the three-dimensional reality, things are getting hard. But it doesn't mean that all of us here on Earth are experiencing the same thing that those people that are drowning in their own fear. Because fear is the disease, it's not the virus. Fear is the disease. When we have a fear that stops us from doing what our soul tells us to do so that you can experience something awesome, you got a problem. You have a virus. And that's the virus that getting in your way of your abundance and of all your abilities to create your dreams. It's not the other people. The other people only are coming to help you, to assist you, to see something about you that you cannot see yourself. So the virus is not COVID, it's fear. And we have been ingrained with ideas and beliefs about ourselves that gives us fear. So right now, part of the change is to address those fears. They're going to come up. Just like all the shit that's been hidden for years is coming up. And we don't like it. We do not like to admit that our water is contaminated. We do not like to admit that our environment is contaminated. And we even refuse to think how it is that we're contributing to that contamination. We just see it like they did it. I didn't do it. They. So because they did it, it's their fault. I have nothing to do with it. We don't start thinking that for everything that we do every day, how it is that we're contributing for this contamination. So that lack of understanding or awareness is what's causing all of these problems that are coming out right now that we need to face. But when you start waking up and activating your DNA, which is, by the way, is the mechanism that allows you to adapt and adjust to all the changes that Earth herself is going through, and then you'll be okay. Because you're not operating out of fear, you're operating out of love. Love, love, love. And the love that we have learned to work with, especially in our loving relationships, is very conditional. Because as long as you're doing what I want, I'm going to love you, baby. But as soon as you stop, I got a problem. And that is that I don't like you. So, this is all about the heart center in this new moon. But it's also all about the new information that we have access to that we need to transmute. So it means we need to let it in. It's going to change the nature of our body, the flow of energy, by activating these markers of our DNA. And it's going to put us in a different frequency that is not only third dimensional. Because, as you can see, I'm very passionate about this. Because we are multi-dimensional beings. You know what that means, right? That your consciousness is not only focused on the physical reality, but it's focused on many other dimensions at the same time. Hallelujah! Multi-dimensional being. You know when you see the best of that? It's in your dreams. And just because you are awake, observing those things that you don't like, it doesn't mean that that part of you stops and looks at only at what you see. As a matter of fact, while you're looking at the one thing that makes you feel so out of alignment and so off, your inner being is saying, hey, how about look at here? But it doesn't say it to you in the way that you're accustomed. People tell you things here in this reality that they have to yell to get your attention. Your inner being doesn't talk like that. It tells you in the most loving way. And it sends the signal not just to your head. Oh no, that energy sends it all at once to all of the cells of your body. And that's what inner knowing is called. True? So big difference between our inner knowing to the consciousness of our brain. And for that reason, this cycle of these 2 full moons entering through this doorway with the heart, it's very symbolic to our times. Because it's telling us, hey, get with the program. Because if you thought that you were driving a first gear, get ready. It's going to get faster. So we are shifting constantly to different dimensions. And right now, 3rd dimension is separating from 4th and 5th. And your personality, your awareness, and your power of choice is going to determine which reality you're going to be. And the evolution of your soul during this time is going to determine where you're going to end up. So the choice has been already made. So now it is up to the rest of you, physicality, to get with the program. So as you can see, we have a lot of work to do. It's not about pointing the finger at other people because they're not being how we want. It's about you. It's about you. It's about you, baby. But you got to learn about who you are, not from a selfish place or an insecure place. No, from a powerful place, so that no one can come and give you a story that is not true. This is not about fighting. This is not about making wars, or this is not about, taking what is not yours. This is about you connecting with this energy called abundance that is so infinite. Got it? So, first card, the numbers say manifestations, infinite possibilities that you're having all the time. But within those infinite possibilities, you have to understand that in order to give room for something new, you also have to feel comfortable with letting go of the old. And some of us struggle so much letting go of the past. So here is being emphasized astrologically the house of Scorpio, which is a very intense house because it talks about death, about endings, finality. But it's not like the energy is going to end. It's just that things in the way that you knew them are not going to be like that any longer, because that energy has transformed thanks to you. Thanks to your desires of wanting something better. Sometimes you say, oh, because I want better for my family. No, you want something better for you. Why? Because you deserve it. Why? Because you exist. And there's no need for more explanation. You deserve it because you are an expression, a very small one, of source energy. A very small one, but worthy of everything wonderful that you can get. And when you are able to say, I deserve this, and I'm not talking about objects. I'm not talking about this pair of shoes or this massage. I deserve it, and that's why I'm going to... No. I'm talking about the simple things. Feeling worthy of being alive. And know that you can wake up in the morning and you don't have to tell the earth, hey, stay in your vibration so that I can have this life, or the sun, illuminate my day so that I can feel warm. I mean, there's so many things that happen in this reality that don't need your permission. Your body, my God. But Sometimes we forget how to feel gratitude for the little things. And I'm not saying that you don't feel it, but a lot of times when we get focused on the things that we don't have, we do forget about all the other things that we have that makes us feel so good. So one of the things that you're being reminded, look, just like you feel so good when something good happens to you, just feel as comfortable when something that is not so good, ends in your life, because that's what's going to create the space for you to attract new things. And before, we didn't know how to do that exchange. So we would let go of something, and then that space would get filled in, because there's no such a thing as empty space, with stuff that we didn't know how it got there. And then we had to deal with it. Today, by knowing your power, you get to choose. I'm going to let go of this because I want this instead. Why? Because my vibe is a match to that, and by the law of attraction, I'm going to have it. And that's what your power does for you. That's what understanding your power does for you. But that power is not outside you. It's inside of you. So that requires you to start paying attention to all the conversations that you have constantly inside yourself. And if those conversations are criticizing you in a nasty way, you need to start finding the methods that will help you transform that. Because that is saying that you don't love yourself and you don't care about yourself. Because you have insecurities and have been programmed by people that have made you feel insecure, and now you are insecure. So you have the ability to record new ideas and override all that bullshit that was a lie. That's right. You are the most perfect and the only machine that is perfect. Because we have all this artificial intelligence that we cannot live without, but it can compare to our physical body. So don't just buy into the idea that in order for you to have a machine healthy, you need something outside yourself. All you need is the information, the knowledge. But we're lazy. We're lazy. Virgo, we're lazy sometimes. So the next number is 56. So you see here two numbers that are combined, and it's pretty high, which is containing more information than the surface. And the surface says, hey, the nature of your relationships are changing. But let's look within this number. So we have 5 and 6. In numerology, 5 talks about changes, 6 talks about love. So changes in love are coming. But you know we're made from love, right? So the changes that you're going to see in the outside don't begin or start first than the inside. So here is talking about you are changing your understanding about what love is from the moment that you start valuing yourself. True? Yes. Astrologically, 5 is the house of Leo. So as you can see, there is a connection with the new moon. And 6 is the house of Virgo. And Virgo, to me, represents fertility. The fertility in the energy that we use to address our work, our health, our life, everything. And fertility is not about having babies, right? Fertility is about how optimistic we are in our life and in our perceptions. Because that optimism is what attracts similar energy. So you need to start paying attention the way you talk and the things you say, because a lot of times I have people that say, oh, but look at how much I've changed. Look, Sandra, I've changed like this. But they're still talking like the person before. And you are not separate. You are a composition of different energy fields that come together and create a vibration. So you can upgrade your definitions, but if you don't upgrade your language, it's as good as nothing. Your energy split. And when the energy is split, imagine what happens. You're wasting energy. It's going to places where you don't know. And you end up always feeling exhausted, which, by the way, is one of the things that you're being told here. Hey, watch it. Don't get too busy and try to multitask, because multitasking is not healthy. You can end up exhausted. So we need to become more whole, because as a whole, our mechanisms, chakras, become aligned, and now our antenna becomes more sophisticated, and it can access awesome information that we can use right now in this time of change. And you can be the provider of that knowledge, right? What an awesome opportunity. So 5 and 6, changes of love. This energy is affecting the house of Virgo with the house of Leo. When you express who you are as authentic as you can, without trying to please the world around you, now you're a better representation of who you are. But you're using love, which is the highest form of energy in our reality. So adding 5 plus 6 becomes 11, a master number. And now it specifically directs you to the understanding of your individual nature, the internal I amness to the external, right? So we have an internal consciousness and we have an external. And those two have to go hand in hand, just like when you see number 11. You have 1 and 1, the twins. This has to be taken into account about this so-called changes that you're going through at this time. And for this, you're being asked to have patience, because 1 plus 1 is 2. So you're asked, hey, you need to be patient. 2 in astrology is the house of Taurus, which talks about your resources, personal resources. And 11 is the house of Aquarius, new information. So you see, all this symbology are just tools that when you mix them together, it becomes a GPS, a map for a very powerful being. I mean, sometimes people don't believe me, but oh well, what a shame. Now, in Tarot, 11 is justice. And are we always asking for justice? Are we always wanting for the law of karma to do its thing? Because karma is a bitch, isn't it? Especially when somebody is getting what they deserve. But we all do. So 11 is justice, meaning that the new information that you're getting to help you become more whole is going to do justice to your challenges. And it's also going to help you how to share your personal gifts and resources. And then it comes the next card, number 19. Another number that is made of 2 energies. 19 talks about pride. And here's where we're being asked to be very careful in the way that we express our idea and in the way we direct our energy and our power, especially to those people that have yet to understand what you do now. 1 in numerology talks about new beginnings, and 9 talks about completion. So we have 2 numbers that are completely at an extreme of the spectrum, okay? 1 and 9. So these are the basic numbers that we have. After 9, everything repeats itself. So we are in a cycle where we have completed certain lessons, this number also talks about completing karma and understanding the lesson in a way that illuminates our consciousness. So this is an amazing number. But if we don't understand our lesson, we're going to begin a new cycle where we're going to create experiences and situations that are going to give us the opportunity to behave differently. But if we behave the same, and if we think the same, how do you think your experiences are going to change? You tell me. If you think the same and behave the same, and now you have a new opportunity that initially looks very different, but it ends up being the same, how do you think that your experiences are going to change? Because no one can change anybody. So the opportunities that you're going to have in the near future is to behave differently in situations that may start feeling the same as the ones before. And in the way that you behave with intentions, it's going to make a big difference. A lot of times people harness resentment. It's one of the lowest vibration that you can use. People think that it's killing somebody or hating somebody. Resentment, just as bad. I don't like to compare one with the other because ultimately it's just energy that is not healthy to us, right? Energy is energy. It's either good or bad, okay? So it doesn't matter the different degrees, because sometimes people compare, well, good is good, but better is better. Okay. But it's good. That you can always be better, hell yes. But when it comes to negative energy, yeah, there's bad and worse, true. But it's still poor energy. So here you have new beginnings and completions, okay? But they're talking about pride. Pride in your inner being. And 9 is about the energy of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius has to do with the food that we use to feed our soul. Our religions, our faith, our practices, the dogma that we use. Is it working? Is it really working? Is it making you a better person? I mean, I'm going to make an observation about what I think this energy is talking about or what I'm feeling. Sometimes people go to church and they do it as a way of letting know God that God is important. And as soon as they get out the church, they're not the best of people. They do things that you're like, really? So, we can be in this spiritual evolution and think highly of ourselves. But the actions that we take and the level of compassion that we use, especially with those people that are struggling and doing worse than we are, will determine at what level of attainment or achievement you have reached as far as your spirituality goes. So you can flower yourself as much as you want, but you will demonstrate, sometimes without knowing, the nature of your character, especially in those moments when you don't feel good or when you don't have control of your emotions. And those are the moments that are going to give you away. Now let's get into tarot. Keeping in mind everything that I said here, because definitely this is the environment that you're in, Virgo. In the heart of your reading, the heart is being represented by the Ace of Swords. And your mind is being represented by the Fool. And in the foundation of your reading is being represented by the Temperance. So I feel like you are right now in a moment where truth, clarity, sincerity, and honesty is a priority. Is priority. You are having the truth. How do they say you have this truth is in your sleeve or something like that? I feel like your gloves. You're wearing the gloves of truth. And whatever your heart is telling you about situations with people in relationships, to you right now, that's a priority. You have gotten to a point where you have learned enough lessons to know that if you want to reach your dream, you're going to have to be as honest and sincere as you can be with yourself, and stop doubting yourself and buying into other people's insecurity so that you can reach what you want. And I feel like that's where you're at. Like finally you have let go of a lot of doubts, a lot of insecurities, and like you're just like, I've had it. I've had enough, And it's not like you're not attracting options, but you already can see right away what that action is about. Because the power in this situation is being represented by the energy of the World, which out of all the cards in the major arcanas, I feel like this is one of the most beneficial ones, because it talks about your level of understanding about who you are. It talks about your maturity. It talks about your capabilities of using discernment. So it's telling me that you are riding a wave where your frequency is very much aligned to abundance. Or if you're not there, that's the direction that you're going, because of the way that you feel and because of the way that you are responding to your life situations, and especially with love. So for those of you who might be struggling, there is an opportunity for this, but you have to change and release the power struggles and the resistance. So here is telling me that for those of you who are dealing with somebody, because I see singles that are more open and receptive to the opportunities, and you're kind of waiting for somebody, but sometimes you get a little bit frustrated because it's not happening. And when you meet somebody, it's not necessarily of the potential that you're looking for. But at the same time, there is a sense of patience here, because, this is not just anybody. You just don't want to date anybody. This is not about being alone or being in a relationship. This is about finding somebody meaningful. But I see that some Virgos are dealing with somebody in particularly, and the energy that I'm being described of this person is of somebody who's very insecure, but also very lonely. Somebody has separated themselves from maybe society, or from they don't do well in big groups, or they're just not really good about communicating their feelings, because they're very disconnected from their feelings, and it's a very impatient person. So you're dealing with somebody who's waiting for the right person, and they like you and they want to connect with you, but they don't know how to do it. They're not very good at doing it, so they're waiting. Spirit is also describing this situation where I see with some people where, like me, we start learning about the law of attraction, and we start getting what that law of attraction is all about, and we realize, well, I'm just going to let the universe to bring me the right person instead of looking for it. A lot of times when people think that way, they also think that once they meet somebody, that person has to do all the work, because that's just part of bringing it to me. And what they don't understand is that once you meet somebody, if you feel that that person has a potential, now it takes two people to take initiatives and collaborate in getting to know each other. That's something that does not change. Because thinking that the other person is the one that is doing all the work while you're just sitting around and doing nothing, that is not harmony. That's not balanced. But some people do believe that. So I feel like to some degree, you may be dealing with somebody like that. Somebody that has told themselves, relationships should not be hard, but I'm going to wait until the universe brings them to me. And this person is sitting around waiting for you to do this stuff. This is not for everybody. But a spirit is saying, if this is the case, be mindful about what you do, because in this particular situation, you're being asked to respond differently, which I know you will just because of the World card here. Because this is something that you have gone through before and know really well. And if you want to finally stop attracting people like this, it requires you to respond differently. Not to overreact, not to resist, not to critique, but to be more in tune with your energy of hope and abundance, and distance yourself from somebody like this, because you know that they're not meeting the requirements of what the person that you want to be with has. I see a Virgo that is very hopeful. You have very good cards in your environment, in the power that you have in this situation, in your attitude. I mean, you know, you have major arcanas here: Temperance, the World, the Star. Awesome cards to represent your energy. So that tells me that you do have the potential to be able to overcome this test and finally complete that karmic cycle where I got this. I finally fucking get it. So I see here that the person that you're dealing with, on the other hand, although they know what they want, they don't know how to go about it. And they're working on it. And they have to, because there's somebody who is very cold, very distant, very feisty, very aggressive sometimes with the way they communicate. I feel like this person may bring some anger with them from the past that they have not been able to reconcile. So there's a lot in this person's life that has put them in an emotional place where they feel quite isolated. And in a way, it's kind of weird, but this is something that you do, Virgo. Them connecting with you have been able to help them understand certain things in a different way. So it's helping them. But not enough to know how to take the initiative and create the perfect balance between the two of you, at least not in this cycle. So you're being reminded of, be careful what you do and how you do it, because you don't want to end up in this new beginning recreating something that you already did, because I'm being emphasized, you already did this. And you know how it felt when it was only you that was given and not getting it back. And although you have the best of intentions, because that's the nature of who you are, it is not harmonious. So I see a Virgo here who is treading carefully with this situation. And in your hopes and dreams, you have options. You know, it's to the Two of Swords. You know you have options. And you don't know exactly where they're coming from or how they're going to come to you, but you know that you have options. This person, on the other hand, they have the sun upside down. So that lack of clarity is what makes them be all over the place, to the point that they don't feel secure. They don't know how to take an initiative. They are paying attention to the wrong things, even though they have many options in front of them. You, on the other hand, your energy is so consistent that finally what the universe is reading for your energy is consistent enough to start bringing more of the people that you want to attract in your life. So I'm not surprised if in the near, like soon, you're going to either know somebody or have somebody from the past who you haven't heard from for a while want to talk to you, because they can see now who you are as a person. And although they might have not appreciated you in the past, they do now. They couldn't appreciate you in the past because they didn't have that ability. But time is one of the greatest healer. And when you start having experiences with shitty people, you start appreciating the better people. So I feel like there's going to be a point where you're going to have more options, more of what you want and less of what you don't want anymore. But also people are going to come back. So I think we're going to have Mercury retrograding soon. I haven't really paid attention to that very much, but when Mercury retrogrades, we have a tendency to attract a lot of people from the past. And it's just an opportunity to give closure. But I feel like, with the Two of Cups here, you are going to have a meaningful conversation, and I feel that it's going to be with more than one person. I'm not surprised if at some point this person gets their shit together and is able to come back and come true and talk about it. But Spirit here is saying, it has to be more than a conversation. You can't continuously have conversations that sound really good, but when it comes to the actions, the person is not available. It's just impossible. So I'm going to close the reading by choosing this card. I chose this card from this deck called the Enchanted Map, okay, by Colette. And the card that came out was with number 14, 5, Ride the Wave. So I'm going to call this video Ride the Wave, Virgo, of Abundance, because as you see, two dolphins, right? A couple of dolphins ride the wave, and it's talking about abundance. So the world position in your power is definitely being reassured by this card that came out after, that talks about riding the wave. And this is what it says. You can be assured that you're entering a time when you can ride the wave of abundance. Hallelujah. The tide has turned, and you can put your surfing skills to the test. Everything that you know, everything, all of your talents coupled with your hopes and dreams will carry you forward. People and circumstances have come out of the ocean of potential and possibility to take shape in a wave of a spectacular activity, meaning that eventually you will start seeing how people out of the woodwork are going to come out, and you're going to be able to network with those people and help you how to achieve the next level of desire that you want to achieve. And know that you are definitely on the right path. All right, my dear Virgo, I think I've shared all that I need to share. I wish you all the best of luck. I serve my purpose. See you around.